Welcome to Improve English with Podcast. I'm very happy you're here today. Today, we're going to talk about something very simple but very powerful. How to talk about your weekend in English. This is something you will use again and again in real life, at work, at school, with friends, even with strangers.
That sounds easy, but actually it's not easy for me.
That's very honest. Tell me, what feels difficult?
Sometimes people ask me, "What did you do this weekend?" And my mind just goes blank. I know I did something, but I don't know how to say it.
That happens to many learners. Your life is not the problem. Your English is not the problem. It's just that you don't have the ready sentences in your mind yet.
Yes, exactly. I feel like I need more time to think, but the conversation is fast.
So today we're going to fix that together. We'll learn simple, natural ways to talk about your weekend, step by step. And more importantly, you'll learn how to speak comfortably, not perfectly. Let's start with a very common question. What did you do this weekend? This question is everywhere.
Yes, I hear it a lot.
Now, listen carefully. You don't need a long answer. You don't need perfect grammar. You just need a simple structure. Here's the easiest way. I plus past verb plus detail. For example, I stayed home. I watched a movie. I visited my friend.
Oh, that's actually simple.
Yes, but many learners try to say too much. They think, I must speak like a native speaker, and then they get stuck.
That's me.
So let's slow it down. Let's imagine someone asks you, what did you do this weekend? Try a simple answer.
Okay, maybe I stayed home and watched TV.
That's perfect. Now let's make it a little more natural. You can say, I just stayed home and watched some TV.
Adding just makes it softer.
Exactly. Just is a very friendly word. It makes your answer feel relaxed. Now let's try another example. Imagine you went out with friends. You can say, I went out with some friends.
That sounds natural.
Yes. And if you want to add a little more detail, you can say, we had dinner together, we went to a cafe, we watched a movie.
So I don't need to explain everything.
No, not at all. Think of it like this. A conversation is like a tennis game. You speak a little, then the other person speaks.
Oh, I like that.
If you talk too long, the other person has no space. So short, clear sentences are better. Now, let's talk about a very common feeling. Sometimes your weekend is not exciting.
Most of the time, yes.
And that's okay. You don't need a special life to speak English well. Let's practice a simple, boring weekend answer. You can say, nothing much, I just relaxed.
I hear that a lot. Nothing much.
Yes, it's very natural. Let's break it down. Nothing much means nothing special happened. Then you can add, I just relaxed, I just stayed home, I just took it easy.
What does take it easy mean?
Gentle tone. It means you rest. You don't work. You don't do anything stressful.
I like that phrase.
Good. Try it.
Nothing much, I just took it easy.
Perfect. Now let's build your confidence step by step. I will ask you a question. You answer simply. Ready?
Okay, I'll try.
What did you do this weekend?
I stayed home and watched a movie.
That's great. Now let's improve it just a little. Add a feeling. You can say, I stayed home and watched a movie. It was really relaxing.
Oh, that sounds much better.
Yes, adding feelings makes your English more alive. Here are some simple feeling words. Relaxing, fun, nice, good, busy, quiet.
These are easy to remember.
Exactly. You don't need difficult words. Simple words, used well, are powerful. Now let's talk about another situation. Sometimes you want to ask back.
Yes, I always forget to ask back.
That's very important. After you answer, you can say, how about you? What about you? How was your weekend?
So the conversation continues.
Yes, it shows you are interested. Let's practice. I'll ask you, what did you do this weekend?
I stayed home and watched some TV. How about you?
Smiling tone. Perfect. That's a real conversation. Now I want to talk about something deeper. Many learners feel shy.
Yes, I feel that. Even if I know the words, I feel nervous.
That feeling is very normal. You are not alone. But here is something important. You don't need to be perfect to connect with people.
Really?
Yes. People don't expect perfect English. They just want to understand you.
That makes me feel better.
Good. So when someone asks you about your weekend, don't think about grammar too much. Just think simple, clear, friendly. Now let's move into a small role play. Imagine you are at work on Monday morning. A colleague asks you, "Hey, how was your weekend?"
Okay. It was good. I just stayed home and relaxed.
Very natural. Now add one more sentence.
I watched a movie. It was really funny.
Excellent. Now ask back.
How about you?
Perfect. You see, you're already having a real conversation.
Yeah, it feels smoother now.
And that's the power of practice. Small steps, simple sentences, real conversations. And we're just getting started. Now let's continue building your confidence. We've already practiced simple answers, but now we're going to make your English sound more natural and connected.
That's what I really want. Sometimes I can answer, but it sounds short or a bit awkward.
That's a very good observation. So now we'll learn how to extend your answers naturally. Not longer in a stressful way, but smoother and more comfortable. Let's go back to a simple answer. I stayed home. This is correct, but in real conversation, we often add a little more. For example, I stayed home because I was tired.
Adding because.
Exactly. Because is a very powerful word. It helps you explain your reason. Here are some easy examples. I stayed home because I was tired. I went out because I wanted to relax. I visited my friend because I missed him.
That makes the sentence feel more complete.
Yes, and it also makes the conversation more interesting. Now let's practice together. I'll give you a sentence. You add a reason. I stayed home.
I stayed home because I was tired.
Perfect. Next one. I went to a cafe.
I went to a cafe because I wanted coffee.
Simple and honest. I like that. Now let's learn another useful connector. And then. This helps you tell your story step by step. For example, I stayed home and then I watched a movie. I went out with friends and then we had dinner.
So it shows the order.
Yes, exactly. First this, then that. Now let's build a longer sentence together. I stayed home and then I watched a movie because I was tired.
Oh, that sounds like a real story.
Yes, you are now connecting ideas. Now let's practice a short story. Think about your weekend. Try to say 2 or 3 actions.
Okay. I stayed home and then I watched a movie. And then I talked to my friend online.
That's excellent. Very natural, very clear. Now I want to introduce a very common phrase. A little bit.
I hear that a lot.
Yes, it helps you sound softer and more natural. For example, I was a little bit tired. I was a little bit busy. I was a little bit bored.
So it's not too strong?
Exactly. It makes your English feel more relaxed and polite. Let's practice. I was tired becomes
I was a little bit tired.
good. I was busy becomes
I was a little bit busy.
perfect. Now let's combine everything. I was a little bit tired, so I stayed home.
Oh, so is another connector.
Yes, so shows the result. Because equals reason. So equals result.
That's very helpful.
Let's compare. I stayed home because I was tired. I was tired, so I stayed home.
Same meaning, different structure.
Exactly. You can choose either one. Now let's do a deeper role play. This time, the situation is a bit longer. I'll be your friend. Hey, Chad, how was your weekend?
Okay. It was good. I went out with my friends. We went to a cafe and had coffee.
Oh, nice. Was it busy?
Yes, it was a little bit busy, but it was fun.
What did you do after that?
And then we walked around and talked.
That sounds like a good day.
Yes, it was really relaxing.
That's a beautiful conversation. Now I want to help you sound even more natural. Sometimes native speakers use small expressions like actually, to be honest, kind of.
I've heard "to be honest" a lot.
Yes, it helps you sound more real and natural. For example, to be honest, I just stayed home. Actually, I didn't do much. I was kind of tired.
What does kind of mean?
It means a little. So kind of tired means a little tired. Let's practice. I was tired becomes
I was a little bit tired.
good. I didn't do much becomes
Actually, I didn't do much.
perfect. Now let's combine everything. To be honest, I was kind of tired, so I just stayed home. And then I watched a movie. It was really relaxing.
Oh, that sounds very natural.
Yes, and you built it step by step. Now let's talk about confidence again. When you speak like this, do you still feel nervous?
A little, but less than before.
That's progress. Gently, confidence doesn't come suddenly. It grows with practice. Let's do one more challenge. I will not help you this time. Answer naturally. What did you do this weekend?
Okay. To be honest, I didn't do much. I was kind of tired, so I stayed home. And then I watched a movie. It was really relaxing.
That was excellent. Clear, natural, confident.
I feel proud.
And you should. Now let's go a little deeper emotionally. Sometimes learners feel frustrated.
Yes, I feel that sometimes. Like I know more than I can say.
That's a very important feeling. It means your understanding is growing, but your speaking needs more practice.
So it's normal?
Yes, very normal. Gently, the solution is simple. Speak more, even if it's not perfect. Before we continue, I want to give you a small habit. Every Monday, ask yourself, how was your weekend? And answer in English.
Oh, like self-practice.
Exactly. You can speak alone or record your voice.
That's a good idea.
Now let's do a final role play for this moment. This one is more natural and relaxed. Hey, Chad, how was your weekend?
It was really nice. I went out with my friends. We had coffee and talked a lot.
That sounds fun.
Yes, it was. And then I went home and relaxed.
Did you do anything on Sunday?
To be honest, I just stayed home. I was kind of tired.
That's very natural. You are now speaking like a real conversation.
Yeah, it feels much easier now.
And we're going even deeper next. Now let's take everything you've learned and bring it together in a natural, confident way. At this point, you already know how to answer simple questions, add details, and express feelings. But now, we're going to focus on something even more important. Speaking smoothly without overthinking.
Yeah, sometimes I still think too much before I speak.
That's very common. Your brain is trying to be perfect, but real conversation is not perfect. It's natural, it's simple, and sometimes it's a little messy.
That makes me feel better.
Let's start with something very real. Sometimes conversations don't go exactly how you expect. Someone might ask a different question or react in a surprising way.
Yes, and then I panic.
Let's remove that fear. You don't need to control the conversation. You just need to respond simply. For example, someone might say, "Oh, you stayed home? Why?"
Oh, that question feels difficult.
It doesn't have to be. You can answer, "I was just really tired. I needed to rest. I had a busy week.
Oh, those are easy.
Yes, you already know these words. You just need to trust them. Now let's practice. I'll ask you a follow-up question. You stayed home? Why?
I was kind of tired, so I wanted to rest.
Perfect. Very natural. Now let's explore another situation. Sometimes the other person shares their weekend.
Yes, and I don't know how to react.
That's a very important skill. You don't always need a long answer. Sometimes a short reaction is enough. For example, that sounds nice. That sounds fun. Wow, that's great. Really? That's interesting.
So I don't always need to say something big.
Exactly. Listening is part of speaking. Now, let's practice a natural exchange. I say, I went to the beach this weekend.
That sounds fun.
Good. Now add a small question.
Where did you go?
Perfect. That keeps the conversation alive. Now, let's talk about something deeper again. Sometimes you compare your weekend to others.
Yes, sometimes I feel like my life is boring.
Your life is not boring, and even if your weekend is simple, your English can still be beautiful.
I like that.
You can say, I didn't do much, but it was nice. It was simple, but I enjoyed it. It was quiet, but relaxing.
Oh, adding but.
Yes, but helps you balance your idea. Now, let's practice. I didn't do much, but
I didn't do much, but it was relaxing.
very natural. Now let's move into a longer role play. This time, imagine you are talking to a new friend. I'll start. Hey, Chad, how was your weekend?
It was pretty good. I didn't do much, but it was relaxing. I stayed home and watched a movie. It was really funny.
Oh, nice. What kind of movie?
It was a comedy. It was really funny.
That sounds fun. Did you go out at all?
Not really. I was kind of tired, so I just stayed home.
I see. I actually went hiking.
Wow, that sounds great. Where did you go?
That's a real flowing conversation.
Yeah, I didn't feel stuck that time.
Now let's make it a little more expressive. Sometimes you want to show stronger emotion. You can say, it was amazing. I really enjoyed it. I had a great time. It was so relaxing.
These sound more natural than just good.
Yes. Good is okay, but adding emotion makes your English more alive. Now let's upgrade a sentence. It was good becomes
It was really good.
better. Now try, I really enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed it.
Perfect. Now I want you to tell a full weekend story. Don't think too much. Just speak naturally.
Okay, I'll try. To be honest, I didn't do much this weekend. I was kind of tired, so I stayed home. And then I watched a comedy movie. It was really funny. On Sunday, I just relaxed and listened to music. It was simple, but I really enjoyed it. How about you?
That was beautiful. Very natural, very clear, very human.
I feel really happy hearing that.
And this is the moment I want you to remember. You didn't use difficult words. You didn't try to be perfect, but you communicated clearly.
Yes, and it felt easy.
That's the goal. Now, let's talk about your next step. If you want to improve your English speaking, you need to build a small habit.
What kind of habit?
Every week, talk about your weekend out loud, even if you are alone.
Just like we practiced?
Exactly. Use the same patterns. I didn't do much, but I was kind of tired, so, and then it was really.
That feels doable.
You can also imagine conversations. Pretend someone is asking you. Answer them, then ask back.
Like a role play in my head.
Yes, this trains your brain to respond faster. Before we finish, let's do one final conversation. This time, completely natural. I'll start. Hey, Chad, how was your weekend?
It was really nice. I went out with my friends on Saturday. We had dinner and talked a lot. It was really fun. On Sunday, I was a little bit tired, so I stayed home and relaxed. I watched a movie and listened to music. It was simple, but I really enjoyed it. How about you?
That was excellent. You sounded relaxed, you sounded confident, and most importantly, you sounded natural.
Thank you, really. I feel like I can actually have this conversation now.
And that's what this journey is about. Not perfect English, not difficult words, but real communication, real confidence, real connection. Take your time, practice a little every day, and trust your progress. You are improving step by step.
I will.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today. Keep practicing, keep speaking, and most importantly, keep believing in yourself. We'll be here with you every step of the way. Warm tone. See you next time on Improve English with Podcast.